Right now, this show is giving me try hard energy. Yeah. So let's talk about it. Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole giving you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. And this is my review on Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. And the title of this episode, Not Your Mama's Vineyard. I don't know how I feel about that title, but let's continue. So first we meet Jasmine, who is a screenwriter, and she is married to Silas. Those are the first two that we meet. Silas, I believe, works in finance. My first reaction to Jasmine, she's team too much. She's extra, very extra. She's one of those people where you have to sometimes back away from her because she just has that type of energy. She's constantly hyper, which honestly, she gives me actress vibes, not writer vibes, but that's what she says. She's a screenwriter. So definitely she's one of those people that I feel like she may annoy the hell out of me as this season continues. So then we meet Preston, who is an attorney and an activist. And he is also Silas LB, which is line brother. They are in the same fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Yeah, I like Preston. He's my favorite person so far, just based off of some of the things that he was saying in this episode. And he seems to be a good mediator when it comes to the drama. Next, we have Bree. Bria, I think, or I think they was calling her Bree for short, but I think her name is Bria. She comes off like she's entitled. She brings her cute little dog with her. She said her dog's an emotional support dog, which, I get. People do have emotional support dogs. However, courtesy, she definitely should have told Jasmine. She did not tell Jasmine. Jasmine just saw the dog. And while I feel like Jasmine over exaggerated when she saw the dog, I do understand that it's common courtesy to let people know. Because you just never know. Some people may have allergies. You never know what the reaction will be. So, but of course, Jasmine being team too much, she just kind of put 20 on 10. So next we have Amir. And Amir is biracial. He is Lebanese and black, but he never knew his black side of the family. So this is kind of like all new to him. And then we have Jordan, who is a former Playboy bunny. And I can see how some people may say she's probably the cocky one. But I personally feel that, she's a confident woman who knows what she wants. And she don't have time for the bullshit. That's the vibe that I get from her. But we already see, based on what Silas says, he has some type of feelings towards Jordan being a bad influence on Jasmine. But yeah, we're gonna get into that too, because Silas seems like he's a little controlling just as much as Jasmine is. But don't blame Jordan for shit. If anything, your wife is the one who's in control of her life at the end of the day. So we'll talk about that later. But anywho, we have a couple other people. Mariah, who is actually Jasmine's writing partner. But interesting enough, they have a intriguing past, because while all of them are here for the Martha's Vineyard, and Jasmine almost makes it seem like she comes from this upper class environment. Honey, her and Mariah was homeless at one point, living in Mariah's car. And the way that Mariah described it, it was almost like Jasmine kind of set her up. Like Mariah was like living somewhere else. Jasmine said, "Hey, why don't you move to New York?" And Jasmine didn't tell Mariah that she was getting evicted from her place. So Mariah comes up there and they end up pretty much being homeless together, sleeping in Mariah's car, taking showers at Planet Fitness. And I was like, what kind of damn friend are you? Like, it almost was like, I know I'm about to be homeless, so let's struggle together. Bullshit. But, yeah. So with that, Mariah's another person. She's a nurse slash screenwriter. And then there's also a guy, Nick, who is a kappa. So there's two kappas and two alphas in the house. And of course, I don't know if everyone knows the Greek world, but alphas and kappas, of course, when you're in different fraternities and sororities, while there's still Greek unity, everybody does their little shade moments about which one is the best fraternity, sorority, all that good stuff. So Nick is there, and also there's another kappa there, and I don't know his name. I mean, he didn't stand out to me this episode. But a cute guy, nice smile. Apparently he is John Legend's cousin. So yeah, so with that, they're all there for the summer. And just a couple of things that stood out to me is, first of all, I think a lot of the people in there are tryhards. And what is a tryhard? A tryhard pretty much is someone who is just over the top of trying to be in the in crowd, so to speak. Just doing too much enthusiasm, too much effort and commitment to stuff that definitely feels like that's not their normal setting. I don't feel most of these people are big time Martha Vineyard, black, bougie, upper class people. I feel like a lot of them came from very humble beginnings and they're trying to be a part of that crowd. The true upper class Martha Vineyard people, hell, they wouldn't even do a show like this. Like, let's just keep it real. So that's why I said some of them are tryhards. Some of them are very aware, though, of their humble beginnings, like a Preston and a Mariah, because Mariah straight up called Jasmine out like, girl, chill. Like, this is like your second or third time being at Martha's Vineyard. But with that, that's why I said they're tryhards. But a couple things that stood out to me in this episode is, again, Jasmine just doing team too much. Of course, we know Bria has her dog there, and it gets to the point where Jasmine's like, oh my gosh, there's hair on the couch. There's dog hair on the couch. And her and Mariah kind of freak out about it. And I'm like, are you guys allergic to it? Like, what's the big deal? Like, someone can go out and get like a lint brush and take that off. Like, I don't think it's that serious, but they made it that serious. And so they call Bria there and pretty much into the room and says, it would have been a common courtesy for you to tell me that you were bringing your dog. And I agree with that. But at the same time, Bria was very dismissive over it. And to me, the way she was dismissive, it was almost like she was getting anxiety having that conversation. So that just tells me that is her emotional support animal. Like, you could tell she was not feeling that conversation and it was making her anxious. Like, she was just like, don't come at me like that. Like, don't talk to me like that. There's nothing I can do about it. So it to me, the fact that Jasmine was really the only one complaining about it, it wasn't about the dog. It was more about the fact that she could not control the situation. That's what it was about. And I didn't like that comment that Mariah said, throw the dog in the ocean. Like, what the hell? Like, seriously? Like, throw the dog in the ocean over hair being on the couch? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, at the end of the day, if no one else has a problem with it, and maybe she can kind of isolate him to certain parts of the house, what is the big deal? But again, I think it was about control more so than anything. So, of course, Preston comes in there and he is trying to be, the balancer in a situation. Like, he's the mediator. He's like, I think Jasmine just wanted some type of common courtesy to let her know and give her a heads up that you're bringing a dog. And Jasmine make this big deal like, if something goes wrong in this house and I and my husband are the host, like, it's like, let's blame the Coopers. And I'm just like, girl, chill. It's a damn summer house. People are there to have fun. Like, what do you mean blame the Coopers? Like, you're doing too much. So that was one thing that stood out to me. That's why I said I have a feeling Jasmine is going to annoy the hell out of me this season. But what I love is they were having a conversation at dinner, and Amir kind of explained, of course, at that point that he did grow up around his black side of the family, so there was a lot of things that he had to understand, like how to, take care of his hair and his skin and different things like that, because he's biracial and he is taking, I guess, his hair is more on the, African American side versus his mother's side. So he definitely gave his vulnerable story about his, upbringings and how it was being biracial. And Jasmine, gives her little fake ass spiel. But one thing that I love is that when Jasmine was like, two black excellence, Preston steps in and he said he hates that expression, black excellence. And I hate it too. That's why I said I fuck with Preston, because he pretty much said he feels like that black excellence expression is rooted in what white people think is successful. And I agree with that. I agree with that, because everyone has their own level of what black excellence is and who defines what black excellence is, because I personally see a lot of people only saying black excellence with celebrities that appear to have it all, or like the upper class of black people, they only say black excellence when it comes to them. However, black excellence could simply be that you have a good paying job, you take care of your family. Like even what Preston said, black excellence is my mother, who I think he said barely graduated from high school, had 3 kids at 23 and was still able to make a way. I so agree with him. We need to stop this narrative that there's only a certain type of black excellence based off of what white people consider excellence. We have to stop that. So that's why I said I rock with Preston, because Preston just seems like he's very authentic and he can understand all sides of, everyone. Like he can understand, the upper class, he can understand the lower class. So, and I like the fact that he said, people always say, do you have to give your opinion on everything? And he was like, you lucky I don't say everything. And baby Preston, I agree with you on that, because people say the same thing too. Like, Chris Nicole, you're opinionated. You always have something to say. Not really, because trust me, if I said everything I wanted to say, oh baby, oh yeah, absolutely not. So what you get is a very mild side of me. But nothing wrong with being opinionated, especially when you can bring balance to a conversation. And that's what Preston did. He brought balance to the conversation. And so also another thing that stood out is that Amir has a thing for Jordan. But the thing is, a couple of those guys in there have a thing for Jordan. Nick has a thing for Jordan, and also that other guy who's John Legend's cousin. And I'm sorry, once you kind of stand out more, I'll know your name. I'm sorry, but they all have a thing for Jordan. But Amir is really trying his best to let, Jordan know that he has a thing for her. So Bree is, or Bria, I guess I can call her Bria. I'm gonna call her Bria or Brie, but she is actually on this little machine that Nick has that helps with, circulation, blood circulation in the legs. And interesting enough, Jasmine sits down and starts talking to Preston about how, Bria was just kind of like rude or just like off the charts with that conversation they had about the dog, not realizing that Bria is like literally not even probably 3 feet away from her, laying on the couch. So when Bria hears Jasmine, she's like, I'm here. Like, I'm here, bitch. I hear you talking about me. So if you got something to say it in my face. And Jasmine, being someone who got caught up, turns around and is like, what are you doing there? Oh my gosh, like, what are you doing there? And it's like, yeah, you just got caught being fake as hell and talking shit to someone else versus just going directly to Bria. But yeah, we see you, boo. We see you. So they have a conversation, and I would have to agree with Bria that it was not a genuine conversation. It just seemed like a very fake conversation, especially because she got caught up talking about Bria and she didn't know Bria was in the room. So I agree with that. And there definitely is something there. And I think Jordan said that there's something there between Jasmine and Bria. I don't know what, but it's kind of like that frenemy vibe. Like they're, friends and enemies at the same time. Weird shit, but I guess we'll figure out what's going on with them later on in the season. So, with that, I mean, they have another dinner before they close out this episode. And Jasmine again is doing too much trying to hook people up and plot and plan different, conversations they're going to have. And then she brings up, well, maybe we should talk about, where you're from and what you do. That very, you're nothing if we don't know like your background and kind of like what your title is in life. It kind of gave off that vibe. And Jordan checked it and said, how about we just have a genuine conversation, not one that's super planned and has an agenda. And I was like, thank God someone said something. And even Bria agreed, but you can tell by Jasmine's face, she was kind of annoyed because of course she couldn't control the conversation. So we discover at that time that Silas, his opinion about Jordan that he said earlier in the episode, he actually talks about it at the table, saying that, he feels like Jordan is kind of like that shady friend that's trying to get his wife involved in stuff that she shouldn't be involved in. And Jordan held her own. So kudos to Jordan, because she was like, first of all, your wife is grown. She's a grown ass woman. I don't force her to go out. She goes out because she wants to go out. And then she was like pretty much saying nothing was inappropriate. Like when it came to the drinks and stuff that he was talking about, it was an event that had an open bar or something like that. She implies that, it wasn't like there was men out there giving them drinks. But even if there was men out there giving them drinks, if you trust your wife, don't blame Jordan in this situation. Like, that's your wife. She should be able to go out with her friends, and you should be able to trust that nothing is going to happen. Now, with that being said, if 3 o'clock in the morning, especially if you're married, that may be a conversation you want to have with your spouse about, go out. But this is no longer the college days where you're coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get that. And that's a conversation of respect that they need to have with each other. But at the same time, he is in the Army Reserve. So sometimes he is sent to, other states, other countries for months at a time. And then, which at that point, I'm sure she gets lonely, so she's trying to hang out with her friends. So I don't know. Interesting enough, Jasmine is controlling. I also think Silas is controlling. They're just controlling in different ways. So while they're complete opposites, they have a lot of similarities in regards to that. But yeah, Jordan shut that shit down. And she was not playing any games. And she let it be known, like, do not come for me. Because if you come for me, it's going to be a problem. So I like Jordan also. I mean, as of right now, she seems like she's very realistic, and she's one of the only people who can check Jasmine, in my opinion. She's one of those people where she don't give a shit. She'll check her in a heartbeat. So that's my review so far on the Summer House Martha's Vineyard. Are you guys watching the show? What do you think about the show? Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Peace.